Hello history buffs and welcome to this first episode in a series of my first 20 online Total War battles. I've been a big fan of Total War ever since the first one, Shogun 1. I think I was 9 when that came out. But I've always been a little bit scared to play online. I don't know why, I always found it a little bit daunting just to actually get online and test myself a little bit. So I wanted just to go out there and share the journey with you, just for any of the noobs who are potentially as anxious and as nervous about playing online as I was. I have been looking at a lot of YouTube guides lately just to try and help improve my game. There's a YouTube channel called Zerkovich, and I'm a big fan of his, so shout out to him there. He has a lot of guides on how to read unit cards and what some of the traits of individual units mean in a practical sense, and so I've been able to get quite a lot from him. But I think that in terms of battlefield tactics and strategy, there's always been an area that I've always been pretty interested in, so I felt like I would do well in that side of things. But when it actually comes to microing and the actual intricacies of the game itself and the different units and the way that they function, the way that they work effectively, and what they're supposed to be or what their roles are, is something which I wasn't very good at, hence why I was looking at those Zerkovich videos. So this is my first battle. It is going to be of the Lizardmen, which is my favourite faction, and it's going to be against the High Elves, so let's take a look. Okay, so here we have it, the very first online battle of mine. So just a quick look at the army comp. I've got a front line of 3 warriors of Saurus warriors with shields, and some Saurus spears with shields on the right, along with some Cold One spear riders, so a lot of anti-large power there on the right. We've got a reserve of Saurus spears with shields. Then on the left wing I have a Feral Stegodon, some Croxigors, and 2 units of Cold One riders. The idea of mine was really to go through and attack their left wing. I also have Krotgar on a Cold One and a Skink Priest with Beasts. So let's have a quick look at their army. They have 2 units of Dragon Princes, those Dragon Princes starting to move. 4 units of Archers, surrounded by a unit of Lothan Sea Guard. 3 units of White Lines of Trace with a couple of Spearmen in the middle. And a Princess on a Dragon. So let's put this back onto full speed. And the Dragon Princes are now going to my left, and I was quite surprised by this. So I was bringing these Cold One riders back to safety and bringing these anti-large cav, the Cold One spear riders, over to the left to try and deal with the Dragon Princes. Now, I thought this was a diversion at this point. I thought he was just playing a couple of tricks. I wasn't thinking he was actually going to attack here, but he did, and it was a bit of a surprise. So he caught my 1 unit of Cold One riders out. But I managed to get my anti-large cav in there, and then my Croxigors were slamming into them. And I started to bring these Saurus spears with shields. Now, if he did actually continue that charge there by the Dragon Princes, he could have done a lot of damage on my guys there. But instead he brings them over to my Cold One riders. That's definitely a battle that I don't want to be in. That's one that these Cold One riders are going to lose. But this unit of Dragon Princes is now down to half health and now beginning to rout as well. Spell there by my Skink Priest, and so now getting to a point when, even though these Cold One riders are now been beaten up quite a lot, I'm starting to surround these guys. Krotgar getting a bit too adventurous there, so he's starting to come back, and now pinning this second unit of Dragon Princes. So this was a costly mistake on his part, just because Dragon Princes are one of the best cavalries on the game, and he basically just threw them away. And he didn't support the cav either. He didn't bring his infantry forward or his archers. I have no ranged weapons in my army, so at least if he brought these guys forward and started shooting and giving me something else to think about. But he really left his Dragon Princes out to dry, really. So now I've done the work on those guys. I haven't suffered too much damage, except for this 1 unit of Cold One riders. They've down to half health, but otherwise I've really dealt a big blow to well, probably the strongest part of his army, really. A couple of units of Dragon Princes. So here we are. So now we're starting to advance. Before my army's back into position, I was really trying to get these guys back into formation before the my advance begun, but those plans changed as soon as these archers were in range. So let's have a quick look at this. Archers, loose! So some good hits there. So as soon as those guys are in range, I've got no range units. I can't hang about. So this front line, instantly ordered to attack. So I decided to keep all my cav on this left wing, and then move the Saurus with spears and shields over to the right. A spell going off there, just damaging these guys. Those archers really now starting to target my skink priest, which I didn't realise at the time. Okay, so here we go. The clash of the titans. The Lizardmen really are cool, aren't they? Let's be honest. Probably my favourite faction in the game. That's why I chose them as my first online battle. And then that Stegodon charges into those white lions. So those white lions are really going to struggle against a Stegodon. And now a Croxagore is coming in to attack them as well. So Stegodon instantly goes into the back line. Starts to take on these archers. I want to try and get rid of these guys as soon as possible. Front line holding out okay. Managed to destroy this white lions here with these Croxagores. But these white lions are really chewed through my Saurus warriors with shields there. Still got a bit of work left to do with these Dragon Princes. But these Croxagores have now destroyed those white lions and starting to get into... Looks like they're going for the Loffen Sea Guard. Stegodon continues to do his work. Skink Priest now attacking the archers, just trying to get them to stop firing. Dragon Princes still hanging on in there, but looks like they're not really too long to go. Managed to get this unit of Saurus with spears and shields around the back of these white lions, so that's now attacking them. Oh, and the Croxagars have just charged into these white lions, so really starting to chew through their front line now. Oh, look over here. So, Croxagar's taking a pounding from the princess, but because I have no range units, and I know that this dragon's going to be tough to take down, while the dragon's landed, I decided to get all my cavalry into it, just to try and do as much damage as possible. Croxagars will finish off these white lions, so they're now going into the back line, attacking these Loffen Sea Guard. So the battle now starting to turn into my favour. Dragon managed to take off, but now very much damaged. So this cav, one unit charging into the back of the spearmen, so they're going to rout pretty quickly. And the other two units start to go after the spearmen. The archers, sorry. And a lot of my units on the rampage as well, so there's not too much I can do about that. Just trying to bring these guys to surround these spearmen so they instantly rout. So their front line is now entirely gone, and my infantry is looking pretty strong. Monsters still charging after these guys, but Croxagar's taking a hell of a pounding. Not sure where he took so much damage. We're just starting to clear up these guys, so now it's just a matter of dealing with these archers. He's got a number of units scattered around over here. These guys need to be brought back in. The Dragon Prince is still not finished off, bloody things. Archers now starting to be chewed through as well, so they're now struggling. So just starting to chase off these guys just to make sure they go off the battlefield. These archers are doing pretty well. Not sure what he's actually microing here. He's got a number of units over here. Dragon just staying still, just chilling and watching. I saw a new attack over here with these Dragon Princes and the White Lions, so I started to form up some infantry here. those spearmen should be able to do the job on those dragon princes, and then put those Croxagars straight over. So he starts to attack Krokgar, and Krokgar is looking pretty rough at this point. He's seen better days. So I'm doing my best to try and run Krokgar away. Just get away from that dragon. Problem is, cold ones aren't the fastest, so he's pretty slow. Leadership's starting to plummet. He's wavering. Run away, Krokgar. He's just hanging in there. Just about. Trying to bring him over just to start taking on some of these archers. Bringing the rest of these cavalry over to this side as well. Run, Krokgar, run! So I'm just doing my best at this point, just to try and get him away. But he's not going to last long. Poor Krokgar. Oh, there he is. Poor fella. There he is. He did well. He did well. So while this dragon is now landed, I was doing everything I could just to make sure that this dragon is done and take it out. I just don't want it to want to take off again. I just don't want to get in the room to want to take off. So everything now coming over to take this dragon on. So once it's surrounded, I was in quite a good position. There we are, dragon now. No? Yeah, now it's routing. Now it's gone. And there we are. That was the victory. Okay, so that was the battle, and now let's have a look at some kills. So my front line of Saurus warriors with shields did well, except for the one unit that got 17 kills. Presumably they were against the White Lions. They got very much chewed through. The rest of the infantry doing well. My cav all got a lot of kills as well. But most of my kills were from my Feral Stegodon and my Croxagors. He really didn't have an answer to them. He would have been better off placing those spearmen and getting those archers to focus fire on those guys. Looking at the amount of kills that they had, that was an answer that that was a question that he really didn't answer. Over to Teapot's side. His White Lions all got a lot of kills. His Dragon Princes did a little bit of damage, but not as much as what they probably should have done or could have done, being such a good cavalry. And his archers really not doing much at all. So potentially could have looked at who he was firing on and focusing some fire just to try and get a better use out of those guys. But otherwise it was quite, not a lot of kills from Teapot's side.
So then, that was my very first battle on Total War. And to be completely honest, pretty surprised how that turned out, actually. I wasn't expecting it to be so one-sided. As far as a strategy goes, I was trying to do the Ancient Greek and Macedonian tactic of the Oblique Order, where I really stacked a lot of my strength in my army on one side, just to try and smash through that particular area, gain local superiority before wheeling round. It was an answer that my opponent, or a question that my opponent didn't really have an answer for. I mean, obviously it's difficult in his particular case, where I had a unit of Croxagors, I had a Feral Stegodon, and because of the early skirmish against the Dragon Princes, I was able to get the cavalry superiority, which meant I had my 3 units of cavalry to wheel around and really get stuck into his back line and start attacking those archers. We didn't really have an impact on the battle, which I'm sure my opponent would have been quite upset about, as soon as the amount of archers I actually brought to the battle. So what are your thoughts on this particular battle? What do you think that I did well? What do you think I did badly? And what do you think I could improve on? Guys, this is Legions of Caesar. I'm on all social for you to follow along, and I'll see you again next time.